and let us all do we can to build a better future. I am no fan of the two-party system. I'm not a fan of Joe Biden. I'm not a fan of Donald Trump. Democrat, Republican, Republican, Democrat. What's the difference? There is no difference. And if you are a diehard Democratic voter, a diehard Republican voter, and you still vote for the two-party system, okay, fine. You're being brainwashed. And to quote the great George Carlin, who's doing a big Broadway musical in the sky, it's one big club and you ain't in it. I mean, you're not the number one constituent. Number one constituents are Wall Street, big bankers, corporate donors, lobby groups, etc. Okay, I can go on and on and on. It's the top 1% that dictates how this entire country is run. Okay, this isn't an opinion, it's a fact. But see, the problem right now with our quote unquote republic that practices democratic values, that likes to say that we're a democracy, is we currently have unchecked corruption. And now we're seeing a sitting U.S. president use many institutions and state apparatus to go after political opponents. Most notably, how Joe Biden is going after Trump. This is a concern here because, again, someone who's in a position of power is going after a political rival. Now, again, I'm not a fan of Trump or Biden, but the actions of the Biden-Harris administration towards Donald Trump is really telling because they know that Biden is not popular. Trump is already defeating all of his opponents in a lot of polling data. Trump is ahead of DeSantis, and he's way ahead of all the others from Nikki Haley. That's not a real name. And, of course, Baron Vladimir Harkonnen. I mean, Chris Christie. But we should be concerned about this. And I want to pull up this video of Tulsi Gabbard talking about how, again, Biden is, well, moving, his administration is literally moving mountains to silence his opponent. Let's play this video.
Sean, let's start with remembering the vision that our founders had for this country, that we would be a country of laws, not of men. But every single day that we see more and more evidence coming out about how President Biden and his administration are politicizing the Department of Justice to serve their own personal and political interests ahead of the interests of the country, we can recognize that they are directly and intentionally undermining that very foundation of our democracy, which is the rule of law. And they're doing it in two ways. Number one, specifically to go after political opponents, namely Donald Trump supporters. And number two, to protect themselves, to protect Joe Biden, to protect Hunter Biden, to protect their personal and political allies. The American people need to recognize very clearly what is happening here, the threat to our democracy, and we have to make the decision to put a stop to this, to not allow this to go on, because otherwise we'll find ourselves in a situation in the United States of America where this is now the new norm. Whatever party becomes the party in power will say, hey, look, the last guy did this. We can use the power of law enforcement. Right, we can use our Department of Justice to go after.
And again, if the Democrats are doing it, you better believe the Republicans are doing it. I mean, look at, again, now it's not an impeachment, but they're doing an impeachment inquiry into Joe Biden. So remember how AOC and the squad were doing everything they can to impeach Trump. I remember everyone was saying, it's the walls are closing in on Trump. It's impeachment. It's only a matter of time. Trump is done for. Impeachment. And it led to nothing. We would be fools to think that the Republicans wouldn't do the same. And the way the Biden-Harris administration is going after its political opponents, the way the Biden-Harris administration is silencing rivals or people who speak outside the establishment's talking points, you'd be foolish to think that the Republicans, whoever they might be, Trump, DeSantis, whoever, wouldn't do the same thing if they're in a position of power. Hence why I always say, break away from the two-party system.
Political opponents, and that's not acceptable in this country.
Of this. But and I agree with you. If the FBI is weaponized and politicized, that's a problem. DOJ, I think, has been. I don't think we have equal justice or equal application of our laws as of today in America. That's extremely dangerous to this democratic republic.
It is.
But I want to ask you, Tulsi, this question. We know Joe Biden lied repeatedly, both as a candidate and as a president, when he said he'd never talked to his son or brother or anybody for that matter about his foreign business deals. And secondly, that he was never in business. That evolved in the last week or two. He never was in business with his son. Now, Devin Archer is confirming he was getting on the phone calls. And it sounds like me that he was the closer. When Burisma most needed the Biden's help, here was the Zolochevsky on the line. Hunter Biden calls his dad. Dad is on speaker. And sure enough, what they needed done, the firing of the investigator Shokin, happened. What do you call that? And Hunter continues to get paid. Was that a vice president taking action as vice president for the enrichment of his family?
Let's be clear here. It was a vice president enriching his family. Biden's had a whole political career of enriching himself. Joe Biden is an individual who's been involved in politics for a very long time. Hey, Bernie, this is your good friend, Joe Biden. Remember that you said it during the 2020 campaign trail? Your friend, your very good friend, Joe Biden. That's what you said, Bernie. Remember how, you know what's so funny, Bernie Sanders? In the off chance you ever see this video. While you were marching in solidarity with the civil rights movement, Joe Biden was doing everything he could to destroy the civil rights movement. Remember, he was against busing and desegregation. He didn't want to have his white kids being with black kids. He worked with Republican segregationists, good friends to Strom Thurmond, by the way. If you don't know who that boy is, you just Google him up. But Strom Thurmond is probably the world heavyweight champion of being a very, very, very racist individual. Joe Biden was against a woman's right to choose, all of this stuff. But hey, you know what else Joe Biden was really good? He was really good of opening up his wazoo and selling himself to corporate donors, lobby groups. Same Joe Biden who sided with credit card corporations to make student debt what it is. Just throwing it out there. Again, Joe Biden, who's also had a lot of business relations overseas. Just something we should think about.
It sure looks like that, given the evidence that we are seeing. You take all of the facts that you've just laid out, coupled with since when does the Department of Justice work on the weekend to send out a routine memo to expedite getting this guy Devin Archer into jail, and then retracting it on a Sunday afternoon, saying, "Oh no, actually, we didn't really mean to do that, and he should be allowed to testify before Congress." They're acting so blatantly and abusing their power to benefit President Biden and the Democrat elite. It's hard to dispute the facts that are before us. It's unfortunate that the Democrat elite in Congress are trying to do that.
What do you say about your former Democratic colleagues that just, they were only talking about the weather, but he said he never talked about these things? We only have about 20 seconds.
You know, it really sickens me, Sean. It really sickens me because I know that they don't reflect the vast majority of the American people who really do love this country, who care about the rule of law, and are disgusted just like I am by their actions.
Now, again, there's a lot of actions for the Biden-Harris administration. Because again, just to throw something out here, let's go back in time and remember something like this, because this happened.
We got $3.5 million from Russia, and it came through Putin because he was very friendly with the former mayor of Moscow, and it was the mayor of Moscow's wife. And you got $3.5 million. Your family got $3.5 million, and someday you're going to have to explain, why did you get 3.5? I never got any money from Russia. I don't get money from Russia.
I have not taken a penny from any foreign source ever in my life. I have not taken a single penny from any country whatsoever.
Now, Biden lying? True. But I think it's impossible for him to tell the truth because he doesn't remember what the truth is.
Ever. My son has not made money in terms of this thing about, what are you talking about? China. I have not had the only guy made money from China is this guy.
Oh, man. I just can't help but look back at 2020 and think, I freaking called this. So did Daniel. So did everyone else in independent media. Oh, vote blue no matter who. Your old dog Biden is just as corrupt and it's just as much a liar as Trump. These two right here, both one and the same.
He's the only one. Nobody else has made money from China.
So question to you.
No basis for that. Everybody investigated that. No one said anything he did was wrong. And
Come on, Jack. Come on, Jack. Here. Shout out to Nico House.
How many times have you ever spoken to your son about his overseas business dealings?
I've never spoken to my son about those things.
And so how do you know?
Here's what I know. I know Trump deserves to be investigated. He is violating every basic norm of a president. You should be asking him the question, why is he on the phone with a foreign leader, trying to intimidate a foreign leader? If that's what happened, that appears what happened. You should be looking at Trump.
All right, I'm going to pause here because there is, of course, some copyright music being played. So there you go. But I want to pull up this video now. Oops. Hold on. Sorry about that. Thought I had the video set up. Let me go ahead and share it with you guys.
Well, it's breathtaking that Representative Goldman would come out of this meeting, from what we've learned from Chad, and say that it was just a dad being a dad. It's really unbelievable. You have now an account of these meetings talking about getting rid of Victor Shokin, the prosecutor, and calls being made to the vice president at that time, Joe Biden. You have an account of over 20 such calls. And you have someone who says, yes, the president was part of moving the brand. Well, what was the brand? I mean, this was an influence peddling brand. And the object of that influence peddling was Joe Biden. He was an essential part of that. And he played that role. So if this is true, and I have no doubt with the reporting of Chad, then the president has lied. He lied during the presidential debate. He's lied for years. And he's had staff at the White House lie. That's always a serious matter. And the next question is, why did he lie?
Why did he lie? Because of this. Got an article here from RT, just a trigger to vote blue no matter who, people, because it's so much fun to trigger them. Because I think it's hilarious. I truly do think it's hilarious. Biden spoke at 20 of his son's foreign business meetings. Hunter Biden was hired by a Ukrainian energy company to add value to the brand. The brand. That's right, the brand. During key meetings to impress the company's clients, Hunter's former business associate reportedly told a congressional hearing on Monday. Hunter Biden joined the board of Ukrainian energy firm Burisma in 2014, while his father was vice president of the U.S. According to invoices found on his laptop in 2020, he received a salary of $83,333 per 2017 and up to $50K until his resignation in 2019, despite having no experience in the energy sector. Whew. Wow, so he's got a big old no-show job. Big old no-show job. He's just there. He's just there for his charisma, I guess. Ugh. Testifying to the Republican House-led Oversight Committee on Monday, Hunter's former business partner, Devon Archer, told lawmakers that the Burisma hired the young Biden to boost its brand with potential clients, according to Fox News reporter Chad Pergam. Hunter and Joe Biden would talk on speakerphone during Burisma's meetings with Chinese, French, and Russian business people? Oh, my God, Archer reportedly told the committee. Archer explained that demonstrating Burisma's connections to Washington was vital for the company's survival, and it would have gone under if not for the brand, Pergam paraphrased. So here, let's pull up this video here.
The President of the United States is compromised based on Archer's testimony?
I think so. And we'll continue to do our due diligence and our research.
On the phone calls, Dan Goldman told us that all of the times that Joe Biden was put on speakerphone or showed up at a dinner, there was always niceties, nothing about business things. Is that?
Yeah, but he probably forgot to tell you that Devon Archer himself said that was an implication of who the big guy is. I mean, and Archer talked about the big guy and how Hunter Biden always said, we need to talk to my guy. We need to see when my guy's going to be here and those types of things.
Can you talk about the bribe at all?
So it looks like things are just falling apart. Everything's falling apart. And I'll play this last video here. Because again, when you build a system designed or based off of lies, eventually the truth comes out Shout out to Nico House. Watching Hunter Biden's people embarrass themselves as they try and defend the actions of a crackhead and demented president is pure comedy. Hey, who says you can't laugh with us here at Hard Lens Media? Because it's all one big joke, the establishment. And it's funny when it happens to these people.
So to confirm, you're saying that the speakerphone conversations, they don't seem concerning to you because there was no specifics about business, and it just seemed like
it was clear that it was part of the daily conversations that Hunter Biden had with his father, and it was and sounded like most of the time now President Biden didn't even know who the people he was at dinner. He was just asked to say hello. And he would, talk about the way he described it several times. They asked over and over and over. He described what the weather was, how what's going on your end. The witness was very, very consistent that none of those conversations ever had to do with any business dealings or transactions. They were purely what he called casual conversations.
And that's a lie. Lie detector test determined that's a lie. Got to bring up the Maury Povich stuff. Again, we live in an upside down world here, folks. Madness and insanity and stupidity all around. Folks, I wish that we had a system of integrity, but we don't. And unfortunately, this administration is doing everything it can to ensure that they stay in power for another 4 years. So they're going after Trump. And look, Trump is no saint, but let's face it, all the scandals surrounding Biden and his administration and his family and the mismanagement of this country and its economy. If this was happening under a Trump administration, you better believe that people like Rachel Maddow, Sammy Boy Cedar, Fat Tony, Cenk Uygur, the Vote Blue, no matter who, Sycophants, K-Hive, G-Hive, all these people would be screaming and yelling at the moon, saying impeachment, justice, get rid of Trump. But they're not doing that for Biden. We have people who have mentally convinced themselves that their team is better than the other team. But know this, there's no fundamental difference between the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. We're ruled over by people that are easily bought and sold by special interests. And until the people say no more, it's only going to get progressively worse.